Welcome back to Rating Skyrim City Planning. Today we are back in the far north of Skyrim in the small city of Winterhold. It's most well known for the College of Winterhold that it lays claim to, but other than that, the city is relatively unremarkable. Let's get straight into the rating. Alright, welcome back guys. We are in Winterhold today, as you already know. A pretty, I'd say boring city. I don't think that's a very uncontroversial opinion, but yeah, I'll pop the rating requirements on the screen here for a second. But I mean, let's just get straight into this. This should be a pretty quick one. So yeah. Alrighty, first up, as usual, for 1 point is going to be if the city is properly districted or not. Now, from the look at this, the size of the city, I honestly don't know how the city could even be considered to, actually be district. Um, there's literally like there's like 4 or 5 buildings in this entire city. It I don't even think it's possible for them to get this point because there is no districting at all. I might even have to waive it, but I don't even think that's really fair to the other cities. So, I mean, pretty obviously here, I don't think this city's gonna get this point. I mean, it's just one line, and there's just buildings placed along it. There's not really any clear, like, this is a residential area or this is a business area. It's kind of just, general store, I believe, home, Jarl's Longhouse, which is, I don't know, this is absurdly massive for the size of the city. I mean, this is like the size of every single building combined here, but whatever. Regardless of that, yeah, they're not going to get this point. Yeah, let's get on to the next part. Alrighty, next up, for 1 point, the city has proper / well-built walkways, well-maintained walkways, whatever you want to call it, and they almost get the point here, but these walkways are, I don't know actually, because this is snow, so you could assume that this could be melted, but yet again, I don't know if this Winterhold even, like, gets seasons. I feel like it's always just snowy here. Um, but it does sort of hint to that there is a pretty, like, decent path under this. The snow is just covering it. But then again, that would also mean that it's just not that well maintained. Like, ideally you would want people shoveling or, like, getting the snow off the path so you don't slip and die. So yeah, they're not gonna get the point here. And even in some areas, it looks like the path almost breaks. Like this is like a completely different elevation than that side, so it almost looks like there isn't even stone in between there either. So I think it's fair to assume that they're just not very well maintained, and yeah, they're not gonna get the point here. Alrighty, next point on our list for 2 points is going to be no ruined or destroyed buildings. Yeah, no, now obviously they're not going to be getting this point. The majority of the city is raised, and and I guess there was some sort of storm in the past, or series of I mean, basically cataclysmic events that just resulted in this city just being wiped out. We're kind of going off the beaten path here. But either way, the city is very, very run down. I mean, these buildings are very dangerous. They're ruined. It's very clear that they have not even been maintained for honestly who knows how long. But yeah, no, there is like an absurd amount of destroyed buildings here. It's actually quite crazy. I think this city has easily the most destroyed buildings out of any city, probably even any town in the game. So that's definitely saying something. So yeah, they're not getting any points here. I think that was pretty easy one to decide there. Alright, next up for 1 point, a classic. The city has room to grow. Now again, we're just gonna get straight into free cam for this one, and we'll see what the city has to offer. Alright, entering into free cam, you kind of see just how small the city is. And that's literally that's literally 4 buildings. Um, that's pretty bad. You can just see how, like, oh, here's this. Oh, I didn't even know. Wait, I actually didn't know that existed. Yeah, you can actually see the city that fell into the side. Oh, that's actually really cool. I actually didn't know that was there. Well, that's what happened to the rest of the city. If you did not know, very big disaster struck. But that's actually very interesting that you can see that. But yeah, Um, Honestly, I don't know what to say about if the city has room to grow. I mean, from the look, I mean, if you just look around it, there's definitely is room. I mean, they can easily, like, just clean up these buildings and they've grown. So I'm gonna give them the point here. I mean, I don't really think there's anything restricting their growth besides maybe these sort of ice bluffs. But I mean, even then they can move that way or out further that way. But there's a lot of untapped space in the city itself, so they're gonna have a pretty good amount of time, actually like rebuilding and growing before they actually need to expand outside of what they kind of already have. But yeah, give them the point there. Alrighty, next up for 1 point, the city is somewhat sanitary slash safe. Now, when it comes to sanitary, I think I don't see anything too completely, like, there's nothing that's really wrong with the sanitation. I mean, maybe besides the large amount of skeletons and skulls but I don't really think that's too big of a deal. The main issue I have, though, is these destroyed buildings, and more specifically the ruins back here. These cannot be safe. I mean, who knows what can happen? I mean, these things could collapse, or something could happen, and somebody could get hurt pretty easily if they're going through these ruins. And it's not like Morthal, where the only destroyed building was kind of in the back corner. This is like on the like straight bare way of the city. I mean, it is very realistic that like somebody could walk in here and potentially, I don't know, get a like 100-pound wooden beam dropped on their back, which could, obviously instantly kill them. Um, but either way, uh, the city isn't going to get this point. I think the sheer amount of just destroyed buildings is kind of what's obviously limiting that point. But yeah, let's get to the next point on the list. Alright, for 2 points, we have the city has basic amenities. Now this basically means the city just has wells. I've sort of boiled it down to that point, and I did see one well that is specifically over in this little ruined market district. Um, Now, this well looks completely frozen over, and due to that, it is objectively just unusable. Unless they melt it, which looks like they definitely did not melt it. So it is a little bit confusing here, because they do have the well, but it's just not really usable. So honestly, I think I'm just going to give them half a point for this. Or sorry, not half a point, just one of 2 points. I think that's fair, because I mean, they have the well. If they really need to, I bet you they could figure out some way to get the water out of this well. But as it is right now, it's just, I don't think this is worth 2 points. It's just pretty unusable. But yeah, let's get on to the last point of the list. Alrighty, next up, another 2-pointer, and actually the last point on the list. And that's the city isn't a pain in the ass to navigate. Now I'm gonna give this point to them. First of all, they really need it, but second of all, the city is not hard to navigate at all. I mean, you could probably, like, from standing here, if you do a 360, you could literally see every building that the city has to offer. There's nothing really that's, like, hiding away or a pain to get to. Like, you kind of just walk in and just everything that's there is just kind of shown to you. Um, so this is another kind of easy one to give them. The city is so basic that there is literally no, like, there's no difficulty of navigating at all. The complexity is so low, it's just negligible. But, yeah, that's gonna do it for that. Alright, so, overall, I mean, Winterhold did pretty badly. I think this is probably one of the worst on the list so far. I mean, maybe Windhelm might be coming up close to it, but, I mean, I think this was a pretty obvious one. Just from looking at it, I mean, you can tell pretty quickly that this isn't gonna get a good rating. But, that aside, thanks for watching, and let's head on to the final rating. See ya.